1940s. Football in the 1940s was held together by determination and whatever talent teams could keep away from military service. Stars like Sammy Baugh electrified fans with league-leading passing numbers, including a remarkable season where he topped the NFL in passing, hunting, and interceptions all at once, proving how versatile players had to be. Don Hutson dominated the decade with route running that looked decades ahead of its time, setting touchdown records that stood for generations. But while those legends shined, most rosters were patchworks of part-timers and wartime replacements. The famous Steagles experiment showed how desperate the league became, merging two franchises just to stay afloat. Helmets barely protected players, and injuries piled up because medical care was primitive, and most treatment involved little more than tape and toughness. Games felt slow until someone like Baugh unleashed a deep throw that stunned defenders still learning how to cover space. And controversy surrounded rumors of teams quietly hiding injured players from service requirements to protect competitive advantages. But that's not all, because by the end of the decade, tactical experiments and player innovations laid the foundation for a faster, more organized brand of football that exploded in the 1950s with a new generation of stars. 1950s? The 1950s catapulted football into a smarter, sharper era thanks to stars who redefined the game. Otto Graham dominated early in the decade, guiding Cleveland to 10 straight championship appearances and retiring with one of the highest winning percentages in sports history. Paul Brown reshaped coaching by introducing playbooks, film sessions, and assistant specialists, making the Browns feel like the league's first modern organization. Meanwhile, Frank Gifford emerged as a versatile force for the Giants, earning MVP honors while lining up at multiple positions. Doak Walker dazzled with highlight plays and clutch scoring, generating a massive fan base. Statistically, the passing game surged, with Norm Van Brocklin throwing for a then-record 554 yards in a single game, a mark that stood untouched for decades. Plastic helmets arrived and encouraged more aggressive tackling, raising debates about rising injury severity. Television broadcasts multiplied, transforming players into weekly household figures. Controversy grew as teams began studying opponents using newly available footage, causing arguments about whether scouting was becoming too advanced. And as strategy evolved, defenses scrambled to keep up, setting the stage for the explosive rivalry between leagues that ignited in the 1960s, when football entered one of its wildest eras ever. 1960s. The 1960s erupted with tension as the NFL battled the upstart AFL for talent, attention, and legitimacy. Johnny Unitas became the face of the established league, setting passing records with his iconic streak of 47 straight games with a touchdown. Meanwhile, the AFL countered with flashy stars like Lance Allworth, whose speed and deep ball dominance produced numbers that stunned traditionalists. Joe Namath arrived with swagger, signing a record-breaking contract and promising championships before delivering the legendary upset in the first league versus league showdown that truly mattered. Gale Sayers electrified audiences with unforgettable runs, including his 6-touchdown performance that remains one of the most famous games in league history. Defenses struggled to contain innovative offenses, and teams on both sides of the rivalry threw money at prospects, sparking rumors of secret bidding wars and heated owner disputes. Racial integration also accelerated, spotting stars like Deacon Jones, who terrorized quarterbacks with unofficial sack totals that would rank among the greatest ever recorded. It gets crazier, because all this energy fueled the creation of the Super Bowl, a spectacle that forever changed football's trajectory. And when the leagues finally merged, the 1970s delivered violence, dynasties, and defensive dominance at unprecedented levels. 1970s. The 1970s forged football into its most bone-rattling form, with defenses ruling every Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers introduced the Steel Curtain, featuring legends like Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, and Jack Ham, a group that suffocated offenses and powered 4 championships. Dallas countered with the Doomsday Defense, anchored by Bob Lilly and Randy White, creating weekly slugfests that often ended in single-digit final scores. Running backs like Walter Payton racked up astonishing stats despite facing brutal contact, while Earl Campbell barreled through defenders with such force that opponents whispered about him being nearly impossible to tackle. Quarterbacks took monstrous hits because rules barely protected them. Yet stars like Roger Staubach and Terry Bradshaw still delivered iconic playoff moments. Defenses routinely mauled receivers, leading to controversies about whether games were becoming too violent. Monday Night Football debuted and instantly turned players into national celebrities, with Howard Cosell's commentary amplifying drama surrounding every mistake. Fans obsessed over dynasties forming before their eyes, and rumors swirled about teams using borderline tactics like hidden hand signals or illegal contact beyond what referees could spot. And as the 1980s approached, strategy and star power exploded, transforming the league into a high-flying entertainment machine. 1980s. The 1980s turned football into a spectacle driven by stars who dominated highlight reels and rewrote record books. Joe Montana defined the decade with icy precision, winning multiple championships and setting a standard for clutch quarterback play. Jerry Rice arrived and shattered receiving expectations, posting numbers that dwarfed previous eras. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears unleashed the legendary 1985 defense led by Mike Singletary and Richard Dent, suffocating offenses with an aggression that left opponents rattled. Lawrence Taylor changed football forever, recording double-digit sack seasons and forcing offensive lines to completely rethink protections. Marcus Allen delivered one of the greatest runs in Super Bowl history, cementing himself as a postseason legend. Rumors swirled about experimental conditioning programs and teams secretly testing training methods to match the decade's explosive pace. Quarterbacks threw deeper, receivers ran crisper routes, and broadcasts amplified every dramatic moment. The Raiders leaned into renegade chaos, piling up penalties while still dominating with Bo Jackson breaking long runs that felt superhuman. But somehow, the 1990s brought even louder personalities, bigger dynasties, and stars who became global icons. 1990s. The 1990s exploded with superstars who elevated football into global pop culture. The Dallas Cowboys built a dynasty behind Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin, with Smith becoming the NFL's all-time rushing leader. Steve Young delivered an MVP season featuring an astonishing 112.8 passer rating, while Brett Favre ripped through defenses with 3 straight MVP awards, redefining the gunslinger archetype. Jerry Rice continued dominating, posting multiple seasons with over 1,000 yards, even as the league tightened coverage rules. Deion Sanders shut down half the field with lockdown coverage and added electrifying punt returns. Expansion teams like Jacksonville and Carolina shocked fans by reaching conference championships in just their second seasons. Rumors surfaced about teams hiding injuries or pushing players through pain to maintain playoff pushes during a brutally physical era. Defenses like the Giants' units anchored by Lawrence Taylor late in his career and Baltimore's emerging core set ferocious tones. Quarterbacks routinely took massive hits that would draw ejections today, fueling debates about safety. It gets worse because internal drama, massive media coverage, and soaring salary caps created tension across locker rooms. And when the 2000s arrived, a new dynasty reshaped everything fans thought they understood about sustained greatness. 2000s. The 2000s belonged to strategy, dominance, and players whose resumes reshaped record books. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick launched the Patriots dynasty, delivering 3 early championships through disciplined defense and clutch execution. Peyton Manning broke single-season touchdown records, dissecting defenses with pre-snap reads that made him nearly unstoppable. LaDainian Tomlinson delivered a 5-touchdown game and set the single-season rushing touchdown record with 28. Ray Lewis anchored Baltimore's defense with intimidating force, while Ed Reed became a takeaway machine with uncanny instincts. Randy Moss revived the deep ball with a historic 23-touchdown season in New England, and Terrell Owens created highlight plays that drew equal amounts of praise and chaos. Controversies ignited. Teams were accused of bending rules, manipulating formations, or using advanced scouting methods to gain microscopic edges. Fantasy football exploded, turning players like Priest Holmes and Shaun Alexander into national icons. Defenses evolved with exotic blitz packages, while rule changes protected quarterbacks and opened passing lanes. But that's not all, because increased media attention enlarged every storyline, creating non-stop drama. And by the time the 2010s arrived, football shifted into a high-speed, analytics-driven showcase, powered by a new generation of superstar quarterbacks. 2010s. The 2010s launched football into a pass-heavy era fueled by record-breaking quarterbacks. Drew Brees shattered the single-season completion percentage record multiple times. Aaron Rodgers posted a 45-touchdown, 6-interception masterpiece, and Patrick Mahomes erupted with a 50-touchdown MVP season that stunned the league. Tom Brady continued stacking rings, including a comeback from a 28-3 deficit that instantly became legend. Julio Jones averaged nearly 100 receiving yards per game across multiple seasons, while Calvin Johnson set the single-season receiving yardage record with 1,964. Defenses adapted by drafting hybrid linebackers like Bobby Wagner and safety linebacker hybrids like Tyrann Mathieu to counter spread offenses. Rumors swirled about teams exploiting new technology for strategic advantages, igniting debates about competitive fairness. Social media magnified controversy, turning minor incidents into week-long storylines. Coaches embraced analytics, aggressively going for fourth downs and two-point conversions. It gets crazier because innovators like Lamar Jackson redefined quarterback mobility with an MVP season featuring over 1,200 rushing yards. And when the 2020s arrived, the sport accelerated again into an era shaped by global attention, explosive offenses, and non-stop online scrutiny. 2020s. The 2020s immediately confronted football with unusual circumstances and unprecedented change. Empty stadiums created surreal broadcasts, yet players like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Aaron Donald still produced jaw-dropping numbers. Mahomes led Kansas City to multiple deep playoff runs, while Donald secured his legacy as one of the most dominant defensive players ever. Cooper Kupp delivered a historic receiving triple crown, leading the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns before winning Super Bowl MVP. Tom Brady continued defying age, surpassing 600 career touchdown passes. Jalen Hurts transformed into an elite dual threat force, and Justin Jefferson posted record-setting early career receiving totals. Analytics dominated decisions, fueling bold fourth down attempts and controversial two-point calls. Rumors surfaced about teams using advanced motion tracking to predict tendencies, sparking debates about whether technology was becoming too influential. Defenders like Micah Parsons blurred positional lines, making versatility a necessity. Off-field drama spread rapidly as every moment went viral, amplifying pressure on stars. International games grew, igniting speculation about future global expansion. The pace became relentless, demanding adaptability and resilience. If you like this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you are going to really love. You are going